Hello everyone, welcome back to another video about Azure, GitHub and Kubernetes and DevOps. So today actually I'm going to talk about a very interesting tool which goes with GitHub. So the tool is called Act. Actually it is a very good tool for us if you are working with a GitHub action. So if you are a GitHub person who are frequently working with GitHub, you know what is GitHub action is. So to people who don't know about GitHub action, so GitHub action is the CI/CD workflow in GitHub. So if you want to do a continuous integration with continuous deployments, then you can automate those process through GitHub action. Okay, so now we know about what is GitHub action. So why this tool Act is very important if you are working with GitHub action. So if you take a look at, if you want to build a workflow, GitHub action workflow, then you have to create a YAML format file, right? Then you need to push it to the repository. Then you need to trigger that action to test actually what the action do, right? So but this Act tool can use to run your GitHub action locally. So that's very interesting and very cool for my opinion, because you don't have to push your GitHub action changes all the time into the repository and run it from there. So you can first test GitHub action in locally using Act. Then you can fix whatever the errors or the failures that are happening in the pipelines. Then you can after that you can push it to the your repository, right? So let's take a look at how it is working and how we can install it into your local development machine and working with it, right? So actually if you go to the GitHub, then if you go do a Google search on GitHub Act, then you will come up with this repository. In this repository you can find the tool, and it is open source and it is developed by the community, right? So in this repository you can find introduction about GitHub Act, how we can use GitHub this Act tool with GitHub action. So here you can find a very small demo how the GitHub the Act works and how we can use it, right? So let's see how we can install this GitHub action Act tool, so then you can use it within your local development environment. And for the convenience for you, I have already created a GitHub repository with example GitHub workflows that we can use with Act. So these workflows has different scenarios, different tasks. Like for example, this metrics has multiple metrics running. So that means different build agents, different versions of that application, right? So there are some examples in this repository as well. So if you are using GitHub action local runner, that is Act, so first you should have few prerequisite tools. So you should have Docker installed on your machine, because in the background act use Docker containers to run these GitHub Actions in locally. So therefore you need the Docker installation. So if you don't have Docker, you can install it for your Mac OS and Linux and other operating systems. Okay. The second tool is the act tool, command line tool. So you can install act using, if you're using Mac, you can use brew, or you can directly download it and install it through this bash command. If you are using Linux, also this bash command can be used, right? Or you can directly download from the release, and then you can move it to the executable location in the Linux. Then for Windows, you can use Choco and Scoop. Then after your installation, you can verify the tool by running act -- version. For example, I have already installed these tools within my local machine. So if I open my repository, then if I click type the act version, then you can see the version that are running in my local development machine. Okay, so let's take a look at very basic GitHub action. Then we will see, then we will run a few, then we look at few options that are available in Act tool, how we can interact with the tool itself, right? Okay, so if you're using Act, you should have this git.github/workflow folder created in your repository. Without this folder, your GitHub action local running tool, the Act tool, doesn't work. So make sure that you have this folder and folder structure, and you have some example workflows within your repository. Or simply you can clone this repository and you can use this as for your testing purpose as well. Okay, so for example, if I go to this simple CI action, so here you can see name, then the triggers. You can see it has 2 triggers from push base from specific branches, and pull requests also from specific branches, right? Then you have jobs in the GitHub action. Then in the jobs you have build job. Then you are specifying what operating system you are running for build agents, right? Then you have steps, is kind of like a specific actions that are doing, right? For example, the first step is it is checking out the code for the build agent. Then I have a sample Node.js application here. So because of that, it will run the setup Node.js action, right? So then to set up the Node.js with the specific Node.js and the package manager, then it will install the dependencies in the next step, right? Then it will run the linting, then it will do any testing if there is. So for example, here I have test.js. So to run this test.js, it will use this action. Then finally it will build the application as well. Then it will display the build information as well. So it's a very basic simple action, so you can use. Okay, now let's see what are the options available in the tool itself. So if you type act, right, -- help, right, then there are multiple actions multiple flags and options are available. So you can use these different options for us for our use. So from these options I would like to highlight few options that are very frequently used, right? So one option is to list down all the actions or the workflows that you can run from the GitHub Act, right? So for that you can use act -- list. Then it will show you the stages, how many stages are there, then job IDs, then the job name and the workflow name and the workflow file name and which events that these different workflows has configured, right? So for example, we previously look at this simple CI. So if you take simple CI workflow here, right? So it has a job called build, then the job name is also build and the workflow name is simple CI. So you can see the simple CI is the workflow name. Then if you see the events, you can see it can be triggered from the push as well as pull request. Why these events are important? Because in the act we can use these events to trigger these specific workflows as well, right? So we'll take a look at that in coming up demos, right? Okay, so now you know what type of workflows available in your repository. So if you want to run everything, then simply you can use act without any arguments, right, or parameters. Then what we'll do is it will go run all the workflows within the git.github/workflows, right? But I'm not going to do it because then it will be, the output will be so verbose. So you can see all the actions are running parallelly. So therefore I will simply select one of the workflow and will run and explain the process and how it's going to work, right? So for this for this demo I will use the same workflow that I showed you, simple ci.yaml, right? So in the act you can select specific workflows if you want to run it, right? So for that we have to use capital W. Then we need to give the workflow path. So the workflow path should be in .github/workflows/ then the workflow name. In my case it is simple /ci.yaml. So if I click enter, right, so you can see that there are some informations are coming, right? So you can see that first thing it will check whether you have this image in your local Docker environment. So if the image is not available, then it will go and download this image from the Docker registry, right? So you can see Docker pull, then the image name, and it will download it, right? Because this specific image we'll use in the act to run these workflows locally. So we will wait a few minutes. So then after this download is completed, you can see the now it's already completed. So now you can see that it will run a container in the background, then simply it is running the workflow, right? So yeah, let's go through the output and see what actually it is done, right? So here if you open the Docker, right, or if you use Docker command line, right? So I will open a new tab, right? Docker ps, right? Okay, Docker ps dash a, right? Then you can see there is image. Okay, yeah, no image is there because actually what's happening is it is after the execution is completed, the container will be deleted, right? But I will show you the image, right? So Docker image ls, right? So then you can see that the image is downloaded, a little bit heavy image, right? But this image is used, right? So if you go to the output of the act command, so you can see that it will run a container, right? With that specific image, then it will run the first job, right? So for example, checking out the code, right? So it will download the actions. So for example, these actions are actually a GitHub repositories. So it will download all the actions that are available in this workflow. Then it will go and run this specific task, right? So the steps in this container, and it will make sure that those steps are properly completed. So you can see that here it is running the build. It will run the dependencies, right? Install dependency task. So you can see here it will run the install dependencies. At top it will run the setup node, right? So then afterwards it will run the linting. Then afterwards it's running the testing part as well, testing stage as testing task as well. Then after that everything is completed, it will show you the output of the display the build information. So here this is running on this place, this stage. So then it will show you the destination directory with the build JS file as well. Then there are some additional jobs are running post setup node.js task. So if you run this actions in the GitHub hosted runners, also there are some post actions that are running to clean up and those kind of things, right? Okay, so now you have some kind of idea how the act works, right? So let's see some few more command line arguments in act. So if you want to do dry runs, also it is possible. So for example, if you want to use dry run, then you can use the act /dash dash. I think this will work, right? Yeah. So now you can see you can specify a dry run parameter. Then it will show you actually what type of tasks are running and what type of stages are running, and their outputs as well. But it's not actually running at the back as running in the containers, right? So but it will show you what we will expect from the actual run. So next you can run these workflows based on the specific events, right? For example, here you can see this has specific events configured, right? So if you specify one of these event, then you can run that specific workflow with that event. So if you didn't specify the workflow and specify the events only, then whatever the workflows with that event will be run, right? So for example, if I take a pull request, right, then pull request event, then I will use act, then I will paste it. Then you can see you have seen multiple workflows are running which has the same event pull request, right? So then at the output you can see the workflow name in different colors. So these different namespace, different workflows are running. So you can see the output from each of that workflows which has pull request as an event. Okay, another way of running these workflows is by jobs, right? So in GitHub Actions you can see jobs, right? So if you have multiple jobs within your workflows, for example, let me check, this one has multiple workflows. Okay, let's get act dash list. So then you have the stages. So okay, so here you can see one stage. So yeah, build an artifact stage. And then you have another stage called download and verify, right? So we can use this artifact hybrid.yaml workflow to test the job, right? So for example, I can run a specific job with act dash job, right? Then if I specify that stage name, right, then if I put the workflow file, right, then you can see that it is running only that specific job only, right? So it will spin up a Docker container in the background, and it will run these steps within that stage. Then it will show you the output as well, what type of the step outputs as well, so you can verify whether your stage is working properly as expected, right? Okay, next we will see some additional configurations, right? So because if you work with secrets, and if you want to pass secrets or environment variables into act, then we can use the you can create a file within your repository called .secrets, then you can ignore it from the git ignore. Then you can put all whatever the secrets values there. Then you can use the argument in the act to import that secret values into the act command line when you are running. So then those secrets can be used for your development purpose. So here you can find a sample secret. So you can see I have a GitHub token, but this is not in use at the moment. So likewise, then you can use these different secrets. Then you can use that secrets within your if you're using those type of secrets within your workflows, then Act will use this file for that workflows. So you can use the command dash secret file dot secret, right? Then if you run it, then because I use the act command, so it will run all the workflows. But if you want to run a specific workflow which using that whatever the secrets within using secrets within that workflow, then you can specify the workflow name, then it will run that specific workflow. Likewise, the same thing goes to environment variables also. So you can pass env file, then you have to give your env file, right? So like this, then you can give your environment variables to the workflows that you see in the act. So you can find a sample env file here. So you can see if you want to enable the debugs and other kind of things and then if you want to use those environment variables when you run in the act in local, then you can use the variable files as well. For example, I'm running everything, so whatever the workflow that use environment variables will use it. Yeah, so that's basically a few very high level overview about Act and how we can use the Act. So to conclude this video, I would like to say that Act is very powerful if you want to use it for your local workflow development in your local workstation. Then you must definitely try out Act. So because it will provide you the testing of your workflows within your local machine without pushing every time into the repository and triggering the pipeline. So you can always test within your local environment. Then afterwards you can push it to your code repository. Yeah, so it has very good features, and I think overall I used it for my development purposes as well, to run and test these workflows in local. So I would like to see your opinions and comments as well. So you can also try out this tool and you can see how it will improve your development experience, and I would like to see your feedback as well. So thank you very much we will see you in another episode like this, so about another tool or another concepts within Azure, DevOps and GitHub and CI/CD and Kubernetes. So until then, I would like to say have a good day for all of you. Then we will meet again. Thank you.